Hi, Anna. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, and oracle card advisor. How are you today? It's kind of dreary here, so it looks like my camera's making me look a little dark and spooky. It is on this end anyway. I'm not doing that on purpose. So, we're going to talk to John today. And, I should explain for my first timers, I don't think I've read for you before. I see, hear, feel, sense, know. A little bit of taste and smell. So I have most of the senses, and they will come through and they will talk to me. I let them run the show. This is their show. They know what you need to hear. Maybe not what you want to hear, but they know what you need to hear. And unless they get out of hand, it's their game. And they'll talk to me, but a lot of times they show me pictures, and I call it spiritual charades. And I have to try to describe to you what they're showing me, and hopefully it means something to you. And a little bit of feedback would be awesome, but I'm just the vessel. I don't need to understand what they're saying, and a lot of times they'll be very cryptic because they don't want me to know what they're saying. They just want to get the point across enough that you know what they're saying. So names, I stink at getting names. So if I say a man's name, let's say George, then it's a man whose name starts with a G. So don't throw the reading out. Stretch that name out of the box a little bit. I don't make things fit. I don't shove things to make them work. It is what it is. So I just stink at names. I can't do it all correct, I guess. Anyway, let's get started. He comes in very, very strong, but very soft. And I see a bunch of cars in the background. Cars. He liked cars. I don't know, maybe he had several cars. But he's making a point of me seeing these cars in the background. He loved you. He still does love you. And I will say before we go any further, they can hear you. I promise you, your loved ones, all of them, can hear you if you talk to them. Say their name, it gets their attention. They can hear you. But he comes in kind of meek. He says he loved you very deeply. He did. Still does. But he always questioned whether he was good enough for you. Whether he was enough for you. Whether he was man enough for you. Whether he was... What word are we going to say, John? Proper enough for you. Whether he could hold up his end of the relationship to your expectations so you could meet your goals. I don't ever creep on anybody's Facebook page before I do a reading because it muddies my mind, so I don't know what you do or just as long as you understand what he's talking about. He always had these questions inside himself. So now he sees that he was enough for you. He says sometimes he would pull back from you when he was here because he thought, maybe there's somebody out there better for her than me. I'm just a simple guy. I'm a simple guy. see if he'll give us some validations or something. I don't like to spend my whole reading on just validating things that have happened in your life. We want to talk to him, but I want you to know for sure that it's him. He liked it in your kitchen. He liked it in your kitchen, and he liked to go. He liked when you were standing at the stove, and he's showing you. This doesn't mean it has to be a big pot, but what he's showing is you're stirring a big pot on the stove, and he'd like to come up behind you and give you a kiss on the neck, and give you a little hug from behind, and smell what was cooking, and reach around you and grab a piece, and try to get it before you whacked him with a spoon. I love it. He liked your cooking. He pats his belly. He says, maybe I liked it too much. He liked pasta. I'll just throw out anything that he gives. Something about wanting to take a cruise on the river. He says river, not ocean. Did you, or were you thinking about taking one of those little like dinner cruises on a river or a big lake? He's saying river. He said there is something about a big cruise, but this is a small cruise he's talking about with some other people. He wanted to check out some of these places because he was looking for a spot and a way to propose to you. But he wanted it to be special. He wanted it to be perfect and meet your expectations. And he's not saying that you were overly demanding or overly expecting things from him, or domineering, or whatever words might come through your head by him saying these things. These are just the way he felt, because he kind of had you on a pedestal. He kind of worshipped you. So this is kind of how he felt, like maybe he wasn't worthy of this goddess on a pedestal. He said he was a lucky man and he got to enjoy it while he was here. He feels blessed by your presence and by your love. He says that he could go hang out with the guys and they could talk cars, and I think he's holding a beer and just chum around with the guys and do the guy thing, just hanging out. Maybe go to some races, I believe, car races. And he was comfy with that, but he was more comfy in your presence. He's going back to the stove. He's going back to you standing at the stove. Okay. me see if I can describe this. It's the same scene that he just showed me. You stand at the stove, he's coming up behind you. You're going to be able to feel this, and if your grief is still very, very strong, that is like a wall around you, and it's hard for them to get through. So it'll do you know, oh I'm stuttering. Do you know what it feels like when somebody walks up behind you and you don't know they're there, but you feel them? You feel their presence, and you turn around and go, oh, there is somebody there. That's what you're going to feel. It feels like a little change in the air pressure right behind you. A little, almost like a push of their bubble. He says you're going to feel a tickle across the back of your neck, like if I lightly run my finger across my neck. Ooh, it gave me goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps doing that. It won't feel like a real finger. It's their energy. But it'll feel like a hair tickling you. Maybe like a bug, like an ant crawling across your shoulder, the back of your neck or something. And your back might get warm from this presence of him. So what he's showing me, he says, don't collapse on the floor in a puddle of tears. He's trying to show you that he's still with you without hurting you. And I know when I first started getting my signs from somebody that really I deeply loved and crushed me, it was almost 2 years before I kept going, where's my sign? Where's my sign? Until I finally realized I was getting them. Because it's truly like, it's like a wall. The grief is just so strong. Anyway, let's get on. Okay, he's showing that in the living room, the remote. Men have always got the remote. It's going to move. And it won't, well, I shouldn't say won't. Probably will not move while you're staring at it. It may even move where you can't find it. It depends on how good he is at using his energy. But you'll walk out of the room, you'll come back, and it'll be moved. And there'll be a different channel on. He's going to change the channel, which is easier for him to do than move a physical, heavy object. Okay, he's showing a bird in a cage in your house. I don't know if you have a pet bird, but you're going to hear a bird singing. You're going to hear a bird singing in your house. So if you do have a bird, you'll hear the bird singing when that bird's not singing. Or if you don't have a bird, you're going to hear a bird singing, more like a canary type singing bird. I don't even know how to describe that, because I don't try to make anything fit. I just try to explain what he's showing me and telling me. He's showing me that he's wearing a wedding ring on his left hand. He says, I was in it for the long haul. He says, what do you do now? You pick yourself up by the bootstraps. You can continue loving me. It's just in a different way. I will still be around. It's just going to be different. And it's okay when you're ready to move on with your life. I'm here to support you now. I won't leave, but it's okay this way for now. And then you have to do what's best for you eventually. And I'm okay with that. Because I know you have a special place in your heart for me. He knows there's a picture of him on the nightstand that you give a kiss to and say goodnight to every night. I don't know, he's getting close to my head because they make my head itch. Their energy makes my head itch. So, So he's showing you laying in the bed. He's showing you on your laying on your right side. And it's possible that you will actually feel the weight, even though he doesn't have any weight, he doesn't have a physical body, but you might feel the pressure on the bed behind you. And he's going to try to brush your hair. I'm not looking at your page. I don't know if you got long hair, short hair. Doesn't matter. He's going to try to brush the hair back out of your face. And it won't feel like fingers. It'll feel, once again, it'll feel like goosebumps. It could feel warmth on that side. It could feel like if I touch my spiky hair, you know, if a fly lands on it, I can feel it. It's going to be really, really slight, but it's going to be just on one side. And he's going to whisper, I love you. Don't know if you'll hear the words, especially, I'm not sure if you will yet. You may just hear pss, 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 pss. When my higher angels, my archangels or whatever come near, I don't think his energy is high enough to do this, but I get a really loud ringing in one ear. I have tinnitus, my ears ring all the time, but it's a high shrieking pitch in one ear. I don't know if he can make the energy do that or not. He's going to make sure you're taken care of. There's some way he's going to make sure you're taken care of. He's not showing me how. He mentions applesauce. I'll throw out any words that they give me. I don't need to understand it. And cars, he's mentioning cars again. He said when he left, it was okay. He said there's no pain involved. He kind of stood there and kind of looked around for a minute like, what the hell is going on? And then a grandfather type figure stepped forward, somebody that he knew. And I always say grandfather type because, let's see, like if I say father type, a grandfather can feel like a father type because maybe the grandfather was closer than the father, or an uncle can feel like a grandfather type because maybe he was closer to being more like a grandfather and taking care of him. So it's not always the exact blood relationship. This man has a G name. Name starts like George, like G. Oh, they're making me itch. I gotta figure out how to get away from that. I spend my whole time looking like I got head lice. And then there was a really young girl. 10 maybe. I could be 2-3 years younger or older. I'm not good at ages either when they're that little. 7 maybe. And she's stepping up by this grandfather figure. She's got a gorgeous dress on. Absolutely beautiful dress. Something like you would wear on Easter. She's got a little basket, like almost like a flower girl basket, or maybe it's an Easter basket. I don't believe she's a guide. This would be somebody he would have known that stepped forward when he left to let him know, and she just comes in. It's okay. We're all here. We're all here to greet you. And then I can see a bunch of other faces that are nondescript. They're just kind of like silhouettes where I don't need to know who they were. Did he have a sister? Do you have a sister that he was very close to? I could say sister. It might be your sister, because she might have felt like a sister to him too, even though they're not blood related. First name starts with a C, I think. Not absolutely sure. I don't know why they keep throwing names at me. Seems how I don't get them right. I wish they quit, but I have to give you whatever they give me. Him. He's acknowledging her and thanking her. Thanking her for being good to you. He says, don't be upset by the family asking for personal items back. It's just stuff. I know it's stuff you want to touch, but it's just stuff. He's a very soft, gentle man. He's holding up, let's see if he'll tell me what it is. He's holding up a glass with dark liquid in it, and I don't feel like it's alcohol. It feels like it's more like Pepsi. It looks dark like Pepsi or Coke. I hear Pepsi. No, I'm not getting anything right this second. Hang on. Let me ask him something. Okay, there's something. There's something about your doorbell. Something about your doorbell. Okay, I don't know if something's wrong with your doorbell or if he's going to make it quit working or maybe ding when it's not supposed to, or something about your doorbell. He's not being real clear about it. He says, I always just felt comfy around you. I felt like I could wear my t-shirts and I thought he was going to show me. I thought he was headed to a golf course and then I didn't see it. I mean, I did and then I didn't. So I don't know. I'll just leave that with you. And anything that I mention, if it doesn't ring a bell now, write it down and you might remember it later. Or like one lady, I said something about a flatbed blue truck. I have no idea why, and the next day she saw one and actually got a picture of it that pulled out in front of her. So I never know where they're going with it. There was a certain smell about him. I don't feel like it was his cologne. I don't feel like it's cigarette smoke. Certain smell. Something he put on his hair. Maybe. You will smell that once in a while. Hopefully you know which smell he's talking about. You'll get a whiff of it once in a while. When you get these signs, acknowledge him, tell him you love him, ask him to bring you more. Don't do like I do, beg, scream, yell, bring me another sign, damn it. Because that usually doesn't work. It usually makes it worse. Just be open for what's coming. He says, I'm going to let you know I'm okay. I am okay. I'm just not okay with the way you're hurting. There's a piece of jewelry you wear in honor of him. I thought he was going to show me a necklace, and that was quick. That was a quick. He didn't stay on that, but bracelet. A bracelet that you wear in honor of him. He wants you to go in and do some of the things that both of you were going to do. Do them in honor of him. He's showing a beach now, a beach. At some point you're going to go to a beach, you're going to be walking along, and there's going to be something written in the sand. It's going to be for you. It's meant, of course somebody else wrote it, but it's meant for you to find. It will be from him. not saying anything right this minute. And I can usually hold their energy for 30-40 minutes. It's about, seems to be about tops form. It says don't waste time. Don't waste your breath. Don't waste what you have. Do what you can do with your loved ones while you're still here. Don't forget about all the other ones that love you. Don't shut them out. He says you need to pick your face up. You need to go wash your face. You need to go have your hair done. Put some lipstick on and smile. He says if you have to smile at me and me alone, whatever it takes, he wants you to do it for him. This is what I want for you. He wants you to go out in the sunshine. I don't know what part of the country you live in because I don't look at people's Facebook pages before I do a reading. He wants you to go out in the sunshine. He wants you to have lipstick on, get cleaned up. And he says you need to start letting your light shine, peek out a little bit. You need to open and let that light back out just a little bit. He said, I'm still here. I still love you, and I'm going to show you in many ways that I'm still with you. He's mentioned Cracker Jacks a couple of times. I heard Apple Jacks and then I heard Cracker Jacks. Okay, he's taking a red rose and he's taking the petals off of it and he's dropping them. So you're going to find rose petals in all kinds of weird places. Just back when I was finding feathers, which is one of the universal signs, I get into my truck and there's one on the dash. I mean, where did that come from? So you're going to be finding rose petals in all kinds of places. And most of them will be red. He says, I love you and thank you. Thank you for making my life here such a blessing and healing me from some of the hurt from my past. He says we can do this. We can do this. So he's all in still, but he doesn't want you to not move forward with your life in any way, shape, or form, but he's still going to be there to help you. So he doesn't want to hold you back, but he will still be there with you. I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I'm sorry, sometimes I babble and I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. He's ready to go. He says, I'll be back and I'll always be around. So he gets very strong and very stern when he says, don't doubt me. Don't doubt me. He says, tell her I love her again. says two hearts beating as one. So he's waving. I really didn't get a lot of validations out of him, so hopefully you get those signs so you know that this was him. I like to get at least 2 or 3 validations so you know absolutely for sure that this is your loved one talking. He says, I'll always be around. So, and he's got little hearts. He's got little hearts floating up for you and coming back towards you. So hopefully you can feel his love. Alright. I hope you enjoy. I hope you got at least a little bit of validation out of this so you do know that he's with you. Much love to you. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, and oracle card advisor. Love you. Pass the love along.